Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pampering Myself Podcast.
Hey, and welcome to episode number 66, titled Loving the Skin You're In. Thank you for tuning in or coming back. For our returning guests, thank you for coming back. For those who are tuning in for the first time, thank you for tuning in. And hopefully something you hear will inspire you to tune in the fourth Saturday of every month. Great information for women and young girls alike. Today's episode is titled Loving the Skin You're In. Today I want to talk about a topic that's so deeply personal, yet it affects all of us: body image. Whether we realize it or not, our self-worth is often tied to how we see our bodies, and it can feel like a constant battle against what the world says we should look like. Now, we know it can be tough dealing with the pressures to fit a certain mold, because beauty standards can make us question our worth. And if you've ever felt not good enough or struggled with embracing your body, know that you are definitely not alone. In this episode, we're going to talk about those struggles, where they come from, how they affect us, and most importantly, how we can start embracing our bodies and loving ourselves just as we are. In other words, loving the skin you're in. I found this article which talked about the evolution of body image on the internet. And it goes, I want to say, as far back as 1200 BC up to the current day, which is known as the postmodern era. It says that the rise of social media during this era, together with the development of editing apps and enhancing procedures, have resulted in the following: a body type characterized by large breasts, a large butt, an hourglass yet thin body, tan, flawless skin, large lips, flat stomach, etc. In other words, by women altering their bodies. Now, this article goes on to say, and I quote, Kim Kardashian has, unfortunately as it may be, is the poster woman of an ideal beauty standards for the modern woman, unquote. How sad is that? And even the article recognized that. But there is evidence that speaks to women who will go to any length to look like Kim Kardashian or whoever else they idolize and believe has a better body than they do. The question is why? Well, according to my research, here are a few factors that may contribute to having a negative body image, because that's what it boils down to. Being teased or bullied as a child. And some of these may sound familiar and perhaps something that you have experienced. Family and friends who always talked about dieting and expressed body dissatisfaction. A cultural tendency to judge people by their appearance. Peer pressure among girls and women to be slim. Media and advertising images that promote particularly appearance ideas. A tendency in media targeting women and girls to encourage diets and weight loss programs. If you're thinking like me, that's just because you want to change a few features about yourself to look better. I agree. It's to the extent that we are willing to go and the reason we're driven according to the research. In other words, our why and what we're willing to do about it is the question. So with that said, here are a few alarming facts. One study reports that at age 13, 53% of American girls are unhappy with their body. And that number increases to 78% by the time these girls reach 17. At 13 years old, can you imagine that? And I try to go back to when I was 13, and I'll share that shortly. But yes, at 13 years old, they are concerned about how they look. When we have poor body images, we can experience a range of negative effects, such as low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, unhealthy eating habits, social isolation, avoidance of physical activity, all of which stem from a negative perception of our own bodies and appearance. And this can significantly impact our mental and social well-being at any age. That's powerful. That's deep. And that is a reason why we have so many suicides and depressed young girls and women coming up simply because of how we look or something we don't like. Now, as an overweight preteen, I can recall having low self-esteem, isolating myself and avoiding people and activities because I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. And this went on into my late teens until I started losing weight, which boosts my confidence. Then there were my boobs. Yes, growing up I hated them. As a teen, I was teased because of the size. They were big. What some may consider an asset, others may consider the opposite. I remember trying to tie him down, but that didn't work. But if someone would have told me I could have had surgery to reduce them, I would have jumped at it in a heartbeat. But eventually, I learned to accept them. Now, talk about surgery. The research shows that there are many who think otherwise. Although I didn't, 45.5% of teens reported that they have considered cosmetic surgery, and 43.7% of women over the age of 60 have also considered cosmetic surgery in some way. So it doesn't go away just because you're 60, 65. There are still women in their senior years who are concerned and have issues with their body. Now, according to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, there are 17.5 million cosmetic surgeries and minimally invasive treatments performed in 2017. And the vast majority of those, nearly 16 million, were procedures such as Botox injections, soft tissue fillers, which are typically used to reduce the sign of aging. These were surgeries that were performed simply to reduce the sign of aging or to look better, to perceive themselves as looking better. And over 700,000 were the traditional cosmetic procedures, which include breast augmentation, liposuction, and rhinoplasty, which is dealing with the nose. So what do these numbers tell us? They tell us there are a lot of women with body image issues, and the numbers are only expected to increase. When asked, are you happy with your body? 43.2% of teens answered yes. And 37.7% of women in their 60s also answered yes. That meant that more than half of both groups surveyed were dissatisfied with their bodies. and suffer from a disorder known as dysmorphia. The Mayo Clinic defines body dysmorphia as a mental health condition in which you can't stop thinking about one or more perceived defects or flaws in your appearance. When you have dysmorphia, you intensely focus on your appearance and body image, repetitively checking the mirror, grooming, or seeking the reassurance of others. Women with dysmorphia may also seek out numerous cosmetic procedures, all in an effort to fix what they perceive as a flaw. In my research, I found that word perceived a lot. So let's address that. Perceived is what you think of yourself, not necessarily what everyone else thinks. So it is an issue within. You perceive to have these issues and need these to make these necessary adjustments because you believe that they will make you better. And whether anyone else thinks or what anyone else thinks is not really relevant. It's how you feel about yourself. So let's go on. According to Healthline, here are a few symptoms indicating that you may have this condition. When you're preoccupied with a perceived flaw in appearance that others can't see, or it appears minor. Here's an example: facial hair or acne, dark spots under the eyes. As we age, maybe even lack of sleep, we may get dark spots under our eyes depending on your complexion. We may have hair under our nose. We may even have hair in our nose, or we may have some pimples, some acne that may affect us or bother us that other people don't even think twice about. But it's what you perceived. Also, if you believe you're ugly or deformed because of a perceived flaw. An example might be your lips are too thin or your nose is shaped funny. We know plenty of celebrities who have plastic surgery or things to correct their nose or their lips. Also, the belief that others take special notice of your appearance in a negative way. Because, really we talk about people. We talk about people because they're not what we think they should be. They also state you may have this condition if you're constantly comparing your appearance with others. I see this on social media all the time, but not necessarily in a negative way. Meaning that I'm in a few groups that are designed to motivate women physically. But someone will post after seeing a picture where a person has done some obvious enhancements to themselves, lost some weight, built some muscles, that I want to look just like that person because they believe the person who's put in the work has a perfect body. And subsequently seeking the reinsurance about the appearance from others. How do I look? Does this fit okay? And I guess it's okay to ask for someone's opinion, but if this is something that you are obsessed with, then there might be some concern. And then seeking cosmetic procedure with little satisfaction or avoiding social situations. Now, celebrities do this more often than, I'll say, normal people because of the cost of out of pocket. But when you can afford it, or people who can afford it don't mind spending their hard-earned money. However, it's been reported not every procedure gives them the results they want. So they continue to chase that look, one procedure behind another. I can't recall the name of the show I used to watch where this they kind of trailed this person who was having plastic surgery, one of those reality shows, and they were trying to correct what they considered a perceived flaw, and the results just got worse. What came to mind just then was Michael Jackson. You know how he kept changing up, and really he completely changed his whole look. I'm not sure whether he was satisfied with it in the end or not, but that's the point I'm trying to make. It may make an improvement, and it may not. I'm not sure I would be one willing to gamble. Now, although having a negative body image can be painful and stressful, there are some ways that you can get around that. According to the National Institute of Health, cognitive behavior therapy, which is a form of talk therapy, is the most effective for helping one change their mindset by helping them identify harmful things or patterns and restructure their thoughts. There's other forms of therapy such as psychotherapy, medications, or physical fitness therapies. And by reversing the damage from these negative body images, it does take time, patience, and effort. But there are steps that you can take to limit your exposure and create a more realistic and positive body image. So here are a few tips according to Healthline. Number one, the main thing is to detox from social media. Without the pressure of curated images and filtered content, it becomes easier to focus on self-acceptance, appreciate your own unique qualities, and build a more positive relationship with your body. Next, you want to create multiple lists of the top things that you like about yourself. I recommend a journal. It can help you develop a positive body image by allowing you to express and process your feelings in a safe, judgment-free space. And by writing about what you appreciate about your body, tracking those small victories, or reflecting on moments of self-doubt, you can gain a better understanding of your thoughts and shift your focus towards gratitude and self-compassion. And then you want to surround yourself with loving and positive people in real life and online. If you're not around positive, loving people, you may have to be the one to motivate them to change by refusing to engage in negative talk. As for online, well, you can always scroll by. And I'm a witness. That's not always easy, especially in this climate we're in now with social media. Whatever major issues come up, we feel compelled to respond. I can't tell you how many times I have attempted to respond and erased it. And I think it was for the best, because there were times that I responded and regretted. As previously stated, cognitive behavior, which is a form of talk therapy, is the best. So knowing you're not alone helps. And in your sharing, you just might help somebody else. Then redefine what beauty means in a less superficial way. Just because someone is defined as beautiful on the outside doesn't mean they are on the inside. Focus more on who you are on the inside. And then finally, take your own comfort into consideration when choosing clothes. You know, people like to talk about how you dress. Don't feel pressured to dress like everyone else or keep up with the latest designs. Be you. There's a Bible verse that speaks to being uniquely created. Psalms 139, verse 14 of the NIV. It says, I praise you because I'm fearful and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that will feel well. I know that full well. This verse highlights the idea that each person is intentionally and uniquely crafted, emphasizing that there is beauty and worth in how each of us is made. It encourages embracing individuality and recognizing that we are all created with purpose. So, as I wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. Body image is such a personal journey, and it's one that often filled with ups and downs. It's okay to have days when self-acceptance feels hard, because this isn't about perfection, but about making peace with yourself one step at a time. Remember, the standards set by society don't define your worth. How you see yourself should be shaped by more than what's reflected in the mirror. The goal isn't to love every part of your body every single day, but to recognize that your value is so much more than your appearance. So as you go forward, try to let go of those unrealistic expectations and give yourself the same kindness and grace you'd offer a friend. Embrace all of who you are, inside and out, and know that your beauty is unique and unfiltered, just like you. Thank you for being here and sharing this space with me. I hope you found some encouragement and a little inspiration to keep moving forward on your own journey. Until next time, keep loving the skin you're in. And as always, don't forget to pamper yourself.